detecting an emotional vampire. Since spotting an emotional vampire can be difficult, especially if one is not accustomed, what can help is noticing something less empirically tangible. Narcissistic people are often referred to as emotional vampires. Many specialists in the mental health fields refer to them as such as well. In my experience, healthy interactions are a lot like a complete circuit. There's a feeling of reciprocity. It can be subtle, but it's there. It's not destabilizing, in other words. There's an excitement, but it's grounded. Perhaps even harmonious. Like a balanced conduit and/or flow of electricity. When interacting with an imposter, on the other hand, there can be an erratic degree of excitement. And I mean excitement in a number of ways. That could be a negative version of excitement, or positive, or anything in between, or any combination therein. Multifaceted. And this can often act like a softly blinding static cloud, covering a vacuous emptiness. There is no ground wire. Their ground is more like a bottomless pit, and it's obfuscated by overcompensations and side effects which are so uniquely effective they come off like magic. It is this emptiness which seeks to fulfill itself by devouring the time, attention, life force, if you will, of another and or many. But it can never be fulfilled. Not like this. And it always needs more. These things are often treatable, by the way. It can be tempting to feel compassion or pity for anyone like this, but the problem is they'll use that against you as another hook to get you back into the pit. Nothing is sacred to them. It's all a means to an end, to get fuel, otherwise known as narcissistic supply. Anyone who's like this and refusing treatment is choosing to remain a vacuous killer, essentially. A soul killer, as they're often called. I'd say it's like that, but also a little bit more like a devourer and kidnapper. A unique form of kidnapping, but my goodness, is it effective. After significant experience, as far as I'm concerned, if there are those who are going to carry on like some kind of aberrant creature, then I'm going to perceive them as such. This unusual pathology, or the many, many consequences of it, is not a life sentence unless they allow it to remain one. It's surprising how brightly a black hole may superficially glow. And though I'm speaking mostly metaphorically, this is not an exaggeration. And though I've talked a lot of satirical shit on the side about this, it is formidable. Big time. As such, these tips can be helpful in early or later stage detection and identification. When it comes to how narcissistic people, sociopathic people, which is essentially the same thing with the behaviors, when it comes to how they lure prey, as many of them see it, prey being other people, mind you. First, they'll study you. Sometimes a lot. You'd be surprised. They may identify what you lack, what your vulnerabilities might be, what your emotional wounds and traumas are. You might be clueless as to what these are, but they won't. Their life cycle depends on it. What you want and or need most in a human connection. And they will begin to slightly demonstrate the possibility of this while mirroring you as a person, bait you with it. And once they're convinced that they've got you hooked, they pull back. This is to throw you slightly off balance, or significantly, to get you clamoring toward them. This is known as push-pull, or hot and cold, and it's effective in damn near any kind of relationship, be that platonic or romantic, though there are different ways of achieving these ends, considering the different variations. Slowly, they begin to utilize their initial presentations to you like a carrot on the end of a stick, while driving you through some of the most harrowing things a person can endure. This gives them a big kick, by the way, a high of a sort. Once more fully ensnared, the carrot on the end of the stick is rarely, if ever, demonstrated anymore. You'd be surprised how effective this can be, for those who aren't already well aware. It's a hack on psychobiology. That's what these people do. They hack everything. And they do so in part because there's little more to them in any substantial sense. The more sophisticated they are, the harder to spot. More often than not, until it's too late to make any difference. Especially with the more innately sociopathic. The more malignantly sociopathic. Narcissists can be easier to identify due to their higher need of narcissistic supply, fuel. Their behaviors tend to get more erratic. But the more malignantly sociopathic can be a lot harder to spot. It's the same underlying operating system. And it's the same kind of machinations, but a different kind of ball game, if you will. There's a reason they're referred to as being predatory. I don't have intimate understanding of this due to morbid curiosity. It's been out of necessity. Apart from that, I hope the information provided here proves useful to you. And apart from that, thanks for tuning in.